What's up YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Today, you're here to learn how to keep crickets alive, and I don't blame you. Buying crickets at the pet store to feed all these hungry little critters and then the crickets just die the next day. Lucky for you, I just got 20,000 crickets in on my shipment. And I'm going to show you how to keep crickets alive, even by the thousands. Alright, let's roll the tape. So before we begin the tutorial, we need to go over the 4 reasons why crickets die and how we can prevent it. Alright, let's get into it. Lack of space is a big reason why crickets die on you. So the pet store sells something called a cricket pen, and you believe that it'll have adequate space, but it doesn't. When they're all cramped in together like that, they'll start biting each other and fighting each other, and then they just kind of die off. So room is key to keeping crickets alive, and I find using big totes is what really helps them. And then filling it up with a bunch of egg crates and paper towel rolls. And if you provide these, it'll give them that much more surface area to climb over and get away from each other when they can. Plus, paper towel rolls make it a lot easier to get some crickets out when you're feeding them. So dehydration for your crickets is actually another main killer for them. And how do we solve this dehydration problem? Well, here's one of them. So you can use cricket water cube gels to provide hydration, but I'll be honest, for me, that doesn't work for me at all. That's actually led me to be prone more to problems, but I'll get to that in a second. And I'll be honest with you guys, I actually don't give my crickets water at all. I know that sounds weird, we're talking about hydration but you don't even give them water. Well, here's the thing, I actually give my crickets a source of natural hydration. And how do I do that? I just provide it through their food. Like, I just feed them only carrots, and when they eat that carrots up, they actually get tons of natural hydration through it. I only give them enough food just to last for like 2 days. They usually eat it all within 2 days, but if you give them anything more than that, usually the food will kind of like mold over and rot away. So 2 days is my limit on leaving food in there, so make sure to take it out then. So another cause for cricket death is bacteria, ammonia, and diseases. So remember how I was saying that I don't provide my crickets with any cube gels of water? Well, that's because it was causing a bunch of bacteria and killing them. And anytime I try to add water in any method, this bacteria was killing them. For instance, when I would add a water dish bowl, they would get in the water dish and just drown. And then the dead bodies would leach off ammonia. And this is highly toxic to other crickets and it spreads like wildfire and it'll wipe out your whole colony. Then I would also try the method of where you just soak a wet paper towel and get it damp and then just put it in the cricket container. Yeah, they'll like go to it and start drinking out of it, but I've also noticed that they'll poop all over it. And then when that poop and water combines together, same thing happens. It makes all the bacteria and ammonia combine and then it just spreads all over again and wipes out your colony. And the same thing happens with cricket cube gels. It's kind of weird. Cricket cube gels would just like mold over time, just does the same thing. So I promise you, just feed your crickets a natural source of hydration like carrots. It works for me and I've been doing this for years now. Heck, when was the last time I actually gave them water? I think it's been like over 2 years now. So lack of ventilation is also another cricket killer. And this seems to happen a lot with people in the reptile hobby. People will usually like drill holes in their containers and put small slits into it, think it's gonna provide enough ventilation, but it doesn't. Trust me, I've done this before. And what happened was that a lot of bacteria and humidity would build up, going back and forth, and then the whole ammonia cycle happened again and wiped out my colony. And to actually prevent this problem, what I did for my containers with the actual storage tub lid, I would just cut almost the whole entire lid out, put mesh screen over on the top, and just tape down the sides, and then there's just tons of airflow through it. And you'll see this more in my actual setup. Oh, and pro tip for you guys is, switch over to banded crickets. These crickets are way quieter than the brown house cricket as they get their wings slower, and they're much hardier. And even if they do die, they don't spread a bunch of ammonia like the brown house crickets do. Like ever since I switched to banded crickets, I hardly have any deaths and they just last so much longer. However, they are a little bit smaller and less meaty than the brown house crickets, but it's totally worth the switch. Alright, let's finally begin the tutorial. You're going to want a large tote bin with the size of 56 quarts. This will actually hold up to 4,000 large crickets for me just fine. And then if you want to get rid of that smell, I would recommend using vermiculite as a substrate, as this really helps prevent the bad smell from the crickets. But I do want to say that crickets only really smell bad if they do die, so keep that in mind. You can get vermiculite for pretty cheap, like $5 at your Home Depot or local Walmart. And when you're spreading this into your tote, you don't really need that much at all. You just probably put in like half an inch, maybe less, and then just spread it around smoothly throughout your container. And then you're gonna wanna use some egg crates. When you stack your egg crates in your container, you're gonna wanna use a spacer such as a small piece of cardboard, because if you don't, then the egg crates will smush in together and possibly kill your crickets. For example, this is how I totally do it. And when it comes to setting up your surface area for your crickets, you don't necessarily have to do it exactly like I do. You can actually set them like straight up on their sides, going up like a wall. And even with your paper towel rolls, you could just stick them anywhere. And after you finish setting up your surface areas, you're ready to dump your crickets in. Now let's add some carrots as their food source. Did I tell you guys I don't like carrots? And I like to place my carrots throughout the enclosure. I don't really like it all in one spot because I don't want them really competing for the food, especially since this setup is set up for 4,000 crickets at a time. And now you're ready to put the lid on. And that's my tutorial video on how to keep your crickets alive. And if you guys got some value out of this, please hit that smash and like subscribe button down below. My name's Ryan, this is Lynx, and you're watching Mighty Morphin Reptiles.